But I mean, I don't want to read too much into it. I don't think the panel really talked about it. I'm not sure if you saw Ryoya's camera shots during that draft, but he looked like he was he looked a bit in despair, to be honest. So I do hope they're not like completely mentally broken and just want to get this over with, you know, and there's like in really bad spirits, but he, at least, you know, the body language there was not too inspiring for me. Maybe he's just tired. At least I hope they're going to show up better than last game, because that was an absolute...
I don't want to make it seem like this series doesn't matter, but I will say this. Whether they win or lose this series for Simply TOOBASED, it really does come down to their matchup against Black and Yellow. That literally will probably decide who stays upper and who goes lower. And that'll be, I believe, next week. So
sure, but if you wanna be better prepared for that series and at least hold morale high, you can't just, you know, completely drop the ball and just, you know, not focus at all or try to win. Like, you still got to keep up your good habits and show what your team can do. So even if you lose, you can at least inspire each other with the belief that you've still got this to be in Division 1 and that you're good enough. Because honestly, I think these guys have the chance to stay there. I have said before that I think Black and Yellow are the favorites to remain in Division 1, but it's one series. You just need to show up on the day, play some good games, and the more practice that you've had that was meaningful and the higher morale you have, the better the chances are. So, got to get through this game. I really like Wildcard Gaming's draft. I'm a little bit concerned with one element of TOOBASED, which goes from my own experience. I don't like playing Dawnbreaker with no stuns. I feel like playing Dawnbreaker support when you have no setup is really difficult. Ultimately, later on in this game, you want to use your ulti. You want to like sit in a side lane and split push. And you limit the hero's scope a lot. Oh, nice damage into Sammy Boy here in the top lane. He will be fine, of course, but like, you limit the scope of the hero when you can't use the ulti offensively basically ever. Empyrean will be pigeonholed to just using ulti to save people that need to stay in the area. And the problem is the heroes that they're playing against aren't really too afraid of chasing. If you can run through a Dawn ult with a BKB Luna, with DP ult, with Weaver, and just keep chasing the target and force them out of the ring really quickly. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. As far as the laning goes top, I think TA Dawn is pretty decent. It's one of the... Dawn is a decent enabling support. She has very strong base stats and good damage, and she can frontline for the TA, so that's fine.
Yeah, you got the minus armor to go along with the physical damage of Starbreaker. But yeah, you're right. I mean, when it comes to support, it feels like, historically speaking, from the games that we've casted, specifically at TI, if you're playing support Dawn, you kind of need that setup for the ult. But if you're playing position 1, then it's not nearly as important, because that's not like the huge part of your plan, right?
Yeah.
Sammy Boy just trading some hits in the top lane still. Well, let's talk about the mid lane. We have Esk playing the Quaswex Invoker versus Ryoya, who gets his hand this time on the OP hero of the mid lane, Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I would say Invoker is one of the heroes that does best here. You go Quaswex and you max out Quas early on level 3, so you have 2-1 build. You have a lot of regen against the Shadow Strike. Might even see him go 3-2-0 on level 5, and you just sustain and farm. Invoker got a base damage buff some time ago that really helped him in the Quaswex build. In the past, a lot of Invokers would actually go Exort level 1, even though they were playing Quaswex, just so they could last hit. And we had a phase when Invokers started with Claws of Attack, Branch Tango, because they needed that high amount of base damage from the Claw that they were willing to sacrifice the int of going for a Null Talisman. But nowadays, Quaswex can easily go this build.
Top lane, Ollie chasing out Divide Llama a bit, but his refraction's down for another 11 seconds. Sammy Boy doesn't have the mana, but does have a mango for the Fire Blast if he really wants to go for it. Very contested top lane for sure, as First Blood's going to go the way of Alex. Again, the kill streak continues, and it's on Lil Nick. That is a giant kill. Yeah.
I was going to say earlier, Eve had really good CSing under the tower. Like, that was some just perfect.
Oh, now Flea might be in some trouble. Synderen
needs to live up to his name here. Run for it.
He's fleeing just fine.
Good. Thank you.
I mean, Lil Nick just hit level 3, so he hadn't had a chance to stack up his passive too much. We'll see if he can recover here. His top lane, Sammy Boy, is going to get hit by the hammer. And the right clicks, nice blocking from Boris. Starbreaker actually does connect, and the kill will go to the TA.
Yep. I think TA is going to have an overall decent time up here. Spirit Siphon can be annoying, but at the same time, Death Prophet is pretty susceptible to the Meld Strike plus Dawnbreaker combo. Oh, Ollie took a lot of damage there. That seemed a little unnecessary as a trade, and that kind of mitigates the win, because they don't have a salve on Empyrean either. So they actually kind of can't lane on TA for a bit.
Well, how do you like... Sammy Boy gonna get hammered. Ollie does not have mana for refraction quite
he missed
yet,
time to stun.
but Sammy Boy running. Starbreaker's not going to finish off anybody here. But what do you think of TA in the game specifically as like a whole?
I think it's difficult without BKB. You're playing against some pretty strong, some pretty major issues. Invoker against TA without BKB can be annoying, except in the lane, but they're not laning against each other. Ignite. The Swarm is also annoying, because you kind of need to use attacks to get rid of that, or it's going to take away your entire refraction. So I would not say it's the easiest TA game ever. And again, similarly to the problem we talked about for Dawnbreaker, you don't have any good stuns that are just going to set you up to get like 3 or 4 hits in, which is what TA does the best, right? She's an assassin. But nobody's really setting her up to assassinate here, so... from a strategy...
Have you seen the Blink Dagger build on Dawnbreaker, Synderin?
When do people get
Starbreaker and then Blink?
All right, Alrioya against Esk will be forced away. Out of resources now. He's going to go back to base. Yeah. I don't know. Based on Empyrean's track record in this series, I think we're looking at boots first before we start speculating about a dagger.
Sure.
That'll be a while. He plays a very hard 5 for this team. So unlikely that he will reach a point where he can be any sort of a playmaking role. Like this from Ollie. Let's see if they can get a melt combo off onto Vailama if he runs backwards. Looks like they're not going to fall for it.
No sentries right now.
Yeah, but Ollie isn't showing on the creeps. Oh, he will walk into him here.
All right, that's a lot of damage. Vailama gets off his Spirit Siphon, but it's not going to be enough to save his life.
That's a cute kill. And Sam was standing too far behind to get a stun off on the TA. Nicely done.
And the good news for Simply TOOBASED is Lil Nick has definitely recovered a bit. I mean, his net worth is not great, but it's going to be a pretty difficult kill for Wildcard Gaming. He is just a little too tanky now, I think. I mean, is there any consideration to getting Eclipse level 6 for Eve, or is it not even worth the kill to sacrifice your farm in the jungle?
Oh, with this build, Eclipse is just weak, right? You only have 1 in Lucent Beam. It's not...
Yeah.
It's not very strong. He's got it. When you go this path, if you're 1-1-3, you're not skilling ults. Like, basically ever.
And look at the net worth right now. TA, top of the chart. So Simply TOOBASED definitely off to a better start. I mean, how many kills did go unanswered last game? Was it like
12, I think.
8? Oh, 12. Even worse. Okay, so they got that first kill.
And it's not just about kills. They're just having an overall better time in lanes, I would say. Not that it was absolutely terrible last game, but they were definitely behind. This time around, it's more even.
And Ryoya has won the mid lane as well.
Would love to see something more out of Lil Nick than in last game. He was a bit too quiet compared to the performances we've seen from him sometimes, or most times rather. But on Timbersaw, that's the kind of hero that you can be aggressive with, take over the game, take a lot of initiative. So hoping from him that we get to see some more action this game and some more success. Farm will definitely be there.
Yeah, he's top 3 net worth, so he has certainly recovered nicely. I mean, he's at the stage where he can just skip the wave and be virtually unkillable. And I mean, from Wildcard Gaming, do they even have kill potential in any capacity at this stage for Timbersaw? It doesn't really look like it.
They're not great at it. They're going to get Vessel and Invoker later, and then they'll probably use Exorcism and the Swarm. That's a fat stack right there.
Yeah.
2 fat
Lee
stacks,
has been stacking nicely
goodness.
In their triangle.
TA is going to get huge if she gets to farm all of this on her own.
And we'll see if Wildcard Gamer are able to scout that out and potentially steal a little bit of that with the Mask of Madness, which is coming soon for Eve on Luna. Meanwhile, bot lane, Lil Nick continues to just go unopposed. So they're just... Well, Alex actually shows himself here, trying to contest a bit, but he's going to get dusted. This is a nice game for Flea. Obviously, Shikuchi is one of the best steals in the game, giving you that extra mobility to be able to use your spells properly.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, unfortunately, not to talk about the same thing too many times, but I also feel like Rubik doesn't like being the only stun in his team. Because you can't rely on Rubik to be the initiator. A lot of the spells Rubik steals like to be follow-ups. So in this game, I think there's a lot of pressure on Flea, if you want to look at it that way, to really be in an excellent position a lot of the time and find the picks. He's going to get a lot of gold when these stacks get farmed. That will help him for sure with getting towards his Itherlands that they will need. Wonder if they're going to itemize slightly differently.
Oh, Empyrean, Sammy boy initiates with the tumbler toy. And this is going to be an easy kill. Actually tries to use his ult, but just dies in the middle of it. See a sonic wave go off.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Not gonna be enough. Did he not hit that, Ryoya? Or was it a TP?
He did, but they were counting on the damage from Dawnbreaker, I think. They needed the Dawn ult to connect, but he died too fast.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And that's big. That's no Sonic. That's no top tower.
Yeah, and that's no Solar Guardian either. He's gonna be able to refill the bottle of Ryoya at the very least. Esk picks up the Arcane Rune. Has the urn, and like you said, we'll be going immediately for Spirit Vessel. I mean, after Spirit Vessel, do you still go for a Midas, or is that a little too late? Because usually it's urn Midas.
You could in a game like this, I think. I don't think he should. All right, Sam's dead here. We'll interrupt
Sammy
the
boy in the enemy jungle.
Starbreaker, but no way out of this.
Oh, wait. Tornado EMP.
Okay.
Looks like he might be fine. Ryoya does have a blink available. All right.
Thought he was hesitating to do that, like worried about a
Orchid.
turnaround, but it wasn't there, so. Yeah, you could go Midas on Invoker after Vessel. I'd honestly like him to just keep playing a higher pace. I don't think Invoker needs to be super farmed and deal a lot of damage this game. If he plays Control for both his DP and Luna, there's a lot of like amplified damage in their lineup. They have the Swarm and Bloodlust for Death Prophet as well as Luna, so Invoker doesn't have to reach that point of critical mass. If he can dictate the tempo and let his teammates farm, that is a totally viable strategy here, so that he almost becomes a 3, you know, and the DP becomes the 2 from the offlane, which is already happening if you look at the net worth technically. That is not a problem at all for their lineup.
Well, there's a
Good
scan.
tower.
They know they're coming. They're going to still take out the tier 1 tower. Ollie gets ignited, so the refraction's not going to do anything for him, and he's brought down pretty swiftly. Wait. Oh, Dawnbreaker ult coming in. He's melded again, but there's a tornado that disrupted a little bit. Finally, they'll find that kill. It takes forever, and Empyrean tries to save his teammate, obviously, but it's not going to happen. Little Nick now in a 1v4 situation. Can't secure himself a kill as of yet, but could get away as Ryoya has now come to play as well. Looks like Alex is going to be safe thanks to the Shikuchi. Sammy boy looking to try to turn this around potentially. Has the Fire Blast available. Tumbler Toy again. Initiation. Is it enough, though? Ryoya with the Cold Snap applied. It is. Little Nick, very little mana, but just enough to take out Sammy boy. So they finally get their first kill in this engagement, but it's going to cost them virtually everybody on their team. And Little Nick, a couple more right clicks will suffice as the EMP. Looks like that was stolen by Flea. He's going to die. Does Little Nick. Might get chased. No. They're going to call it a day here.
Oh, it's a hasted
Nice
PA.
fight from Wildcard. Yeah, Divine Llama has his Exorcism. Trying to get the kill on Empyrean. This is going to be 2 quick deaths for him, but it looks like it'll be a trade of sorts as Boris able to find that kill thanks to that haste rune.
Yeah, if not for that trade mid, this is a huge win for Wildcard, but losing the DP, ulti, and DP just for killing off the 5 Dawn, I think that equalizes things a little bit across the board, but that was a good bottom fight for Wildcard. Unfortunately, they arrived a little bit too late. The tower was already gone, but they still managed to get some very valuable kills. And they had Eve in the neighborhood for some of it as well, so he got involved and got experience. Now he's farming a little bit of stacks. You imagine Luna here will go for a Manta as one of the earlier items. Very, very good item against the TA. You just want, as Luna, to break the refraction as easily as possible. They also have Solar Crest already. On the Weaver, Alex is very farmed. 42 CS on the support Weaver has kind of gone, you know, unnoticed how farmed he is here, but this is rather extraordinary.
Yeah, that was, we're going to see Tornado EMP on Ryoya with the Cold Snap, and the Solar Guardian is actually going to be completed from Empyrean. Looks like he'll be fine either way. Obviously tried to save their Quap, but it's not happening. Yeah, the Weaver, most of this farm was because little Nick was skipping the camps or the creep waves, and it was kind of his way to get a free creep wave every time. Having like 3 waves in a row. So Alex, time lapses.
It's just so easy, right? He just walks in there, he gets dusted and lifted by Rubik, and then he's like, oh, well, guess I'll time-lapse and Shikuchi out, because that's the only stun you guys have. And he's just...
Yeah.
He's actually so safe. It feels amazing to play support Weaver like this, because what Weaver can do is similar to other invisible supports. You can just play aggressively on the enemy side of the map. You can break smokes, get down defensive or offensive wards. You can scout camps, and it's at such minimal risk. Like, if you somehow die, you're a support. In this game, you're almost unkillable, unless you run into like 4 heroes and get comboed. So that's amazing. This is, like, considering this is the first pick of the game, it's honestly, you don't get better conditions than this as a 4 Weaver. He's got to be super happy about the game.
Yep, that is definitely true. Esk did finish the Spirit Vessel. We've seen that for quite a while now. Has the Gloves of Haste. So Midas is definitely the choice.
Yeah, looks like it.
That he's going for.
Deso on TA. So big item coming out for Simply 2 based as well. Would imagine you want to look for a fight with this timing. Once again, my question, not to sound like a broken record, is how do you set it up? You don't have Orchid on Queen yet. Ryoya is very underfarmed. Oh, they will find that. That'll work.
Blown up. Not sure if the Sonic Wave was needed, but they'll get the kill regardless. Sammy Boy TP's in, and that's going to possibly cost him his life as well.
Yep.
1 Melt Strike and a right click to go. Ollie's range thanks to that Dragon Lance. Very nicely done. But there's the Atos. Looks like Wildcard Gaming still want to fight here. Divide Llama has his ult. The Spirit Siphons are going onto several targets now. Everybody's quite low. The Crypt Storm gets 1. Flea looks to be next. A couple more right clicks will be enough as Alex is going to try to clean up from the sideline. But you see the Solar Guardian healing up Ollie. They're going to try to team fight here. But there's the Eclipse. Divide Llama still yet to use Exorcism in this fight. Right clicks from Eve doing quite a bit of damage. But he's going to get chased now with that Chakram. And Ryoya jumps into safety as well. And it looks like that is a dieback onto the Dawnbreaker, and this fight is just so random. It feels like Simply 2-Base were winning, but they've lost several heroes now, along with the dieback. But at the very least, their cores survive.
I actually like from Wildcard that they tried to go for that fight even with dead heroes. Like, the confidence in the way they used their positional advantage. That was very close, but still, Simply 2-Based, of course, did manage to hold their own, and in the end it kind of turns out into, it basically is a wash. Dieback from Empyrean, I believe, was the only buyback expended. Still an overall 700 gold win for the Dire.
It feels like they weren't 100% on the same page whether they wanted to fight, because Exorcism was not used until he was about at like 25% HP. And then he used it and then he died instantly. So another kind of waste of Exorcism, it feels like.
Yeah, it was
still a very even game.
It was a bit weird considering the way he entered the fight with Atos, right? That's an obvious setup for Exo. All right. Ryoya, very aggressive here.
Yeah, jumps into enemy territory, but he's going to be fine for now. And they're going to initiate onto Sammy Boy. He gets taken out. Meanwhile, on the Tier 1 tower, they're going to get a huge kill onto Ollie, who's just very scattered fight for Simply 2-Base. They're going to clean up the Dawnbreaker as well. Little Nick looks to be next as he is completely surrounded, gets the Timber Chain off, but the Lucent Beam cancels the Timber Chain min animation. Alex will be taken out in the river, though. So some consolation kills for Simply 2-Base, but it's just the 2 supports. And you lose the TA and Timber Saw.
Yeah, just not a good trade. They do put the Orchid to good use to finally kill that pesky Weaver there, but all right, good
Sonic Wave onto 3 heroes. Flea, he's going to get Atos, though. They're not able to finish anybody off yet. Shadow Strike into the Fade Bolt, into the Scream of Pain. Ryoya gets a much-needed kill on Divide Llama. Successful defense of this Tier 1 tower. Esk now has his hand on Midas. And Ollie looks like might just want to keep fighting or going for this Tier 1 tower. Does have that Deso like you talked about, so yep. Takes it out in 3 hits. Much more even game this time around, which I'm happy to see.
Sunstrike. Oh, that did clip a creep. I think he actually would have died if it didn't. That got split in half. Oh, the NATO. Close call.
Actually has time lapse on Flea.
Oh, so he
could see
I
that.
don't know if he would have got it off in time. He might have actually died.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Now Eve top of the net worth, but he is tied essentially with the TA. Empyrean and Little Nick have to get out. This is the majority of Wildcard Gaming here. Lucent Beam sets it up with the Cold Snap and the Spirit Vessel. Easy kill onto the Dawnbreaker. So Ryoya, he does have his Orchid working on the BKB. We already talked about Deso Dragonlance on Ollie. Only a recipe away from BKB for himself as well.
That sound effect.
Yeah.
Did clip the one creep there.
Are you sure that would have gotten the kill? It's a level 4 Sunstrike. It would have been close.
Did he have time lapse ready at the time? I don't know. Anyway,
Oh,
into the pit. This is a big moment.
into the pit, indeed. Yeah, Trap is going to spot it out. This is an Alacrity'd Eve. He has the full 9-second BKB, and Roche is already at half health. But Sammy Boy gets a D-ward off, dies shortly after, has buyback, uses it. And Divine Llama wants to get the most use out of this Exorcism. It's starting to run out here. They have to be very, very careful. Lil Nick wants to try to steal yet another Aegis this time around. Dawnbreaker comes in with the ult. It's not really going to connect on anybody. Heals Lil Nick just a little bit. And he's in the pit getting bashed by Roche. Has to be very careful here. Gets off his Yule's Empyrean, getting zoned out thanks to this ice wall. Even in the meantime, gets the BKB off, and the Sonic Wave finishes off, but the Aegis is in the hands of Wildcard Game at the very least. That is a dieback onto Sammy Boy, but now TA is in a lot of trouble. Spirit Vessel and the right clicks will suffice. Esk in the meantime, that's just going to be the Aegis, but they do take it out at the very least. This is now a 3 versus 2 situation, theoretically speaking. Empyrean, cancel TP, so 4 dead. Oh, the hammer does go off, but Alex secures himself the double kill. How many bashes did Lil Nick take by Roche?
I think it was 2 or 3. But in the midst of all that, he actually got the last hit on Roche with Whirling Death. At the very least, yeah,
Okay.
at the very least, he got a lot of experience and gold for his team. But yeah, that's just Dawnbreaker without stuns in a nutshell there, right? That ult is just so underwhelming. But look at Nick. He's going to get Yuled here by himself, come down into an instant bash. And then there, Whirling Death gets it and then dies.
Poor Lil Nick.
Much
He has
more
a
competitive
hood,
game than last
Yules.
one. That's for sure.
Yes, no doubt. I mean, net worth-wise, I mean, who would you rather be in this? Like, whose shoes would you rather be in right now?
I think I would still rather be in the shoes of Wildcard Gaming, but it definitely feels like there's a path to victory for Simply TOOBASED, primarily off of right itemization at this point. I think you really want to buy one source of lockdown. You have the Yules on Timber, which has been a great help. Maybe TA gets a Nullifier, or you get a Hex on Quap at some point in the near future so that you can stick on targets and really take them down. TA Shard would also help, if they could get that from the second Roche.
And it looks like the tier 2 tower is what Wildcard have their sights on. With the Alacrity Forge Spirit, looks like they might just get it uncontested here. Although reinforcements coming for Simply TOOBASED. They're going to pop that fort, and that's going to force Wildcard back.
So Sammy placed himself in an offensive position there to be basically a wall against the smoke, and I don't even think they smoked. I think they just ran into him and killed him, but at the very least he protected his teammates top from getting attacked from below, and like you said, almost got a full tower for his efforts. So that's a pretty good trade-off if you're that 5 Ogre. His net worth, of course, totally in the dumpster here, but that's one of the nice things about Ogre is how much you can do with little net worth, because inherently, especially after some of the buffs, like Ignite is a lot better. You always are going to have that bloodlust for your teammates, and some of the neutral items are really helpful. Like Tumbler's Toy, this is one of the best neutral items on this hero because you lack that cast range on Fire Blast. People used to buy Yule or Lens on Ogre to catch up. Get the toy. You can do it that way.
Would you rather have the toy, or what is that thing that gives you cast range at the level 1 neutral?
I'd definitely rather have the toy than the Keen Optic.
Oh, he uses it right there. Looks like he might find his way to the grave this time around, though. See if they can turn it around. Ryoya has to use his BKB. Eve looking for the Eclipse onto Little Nick. Cancels the Timber Chain halfway through. Looks like he'll find his way to the grave as well, but it's going to cost him Divine Llama. Feels like these fights are very split up. Divine Llama trying to like 1v5 there.
Can we get a replay
on the
on
other
that
side
fight?
of the jungle?
Do you remember?
Sure, Cinderin.
Do you remember we had this game the other day? Was it you and me casting where Forsaken Oracle kept not getting hit by the Swarm as Queen of Pain?
Yeah.
Look at
Did it happen
Ryoya.
again?
What?
He BKBs?
Doesn't it hit anyway?
I don't know.
The swarm was also
Does it?
connected on him before anyway. Like it is on him before, right?
And it cannot be dispelled. I know that. Is that an Arcana bug? Pay to win? Is that what you're insinuating?
I don't know. I feel like
Maybe that's why Quap is so good now. Swarm doesn't hit her.
Like, correct me if I'm wrong. There's no way I'm missing something here, right? The swarm definitely does hit there. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't have a big screen to see that exactly, so I can't back you up here 100%. Sorry. Ollie has the double damage, though, looking for the tier 2 tower. By the way, Aghanim's online for Alex. He has Solar Crest and Ags on Weaver. Now, there is a lot of burst damage from simply TOOBASED, so this is gonna. It's not like one of the really easy usages of the time lapse on teammates. Has to be in good position. All right, they're gonna start this fight out onto Empyrean, but Lil Nick jumps in with the Chakram. He's gonna get surrounded. There's a Solar Crest applied. Ryoya trying to create a little bit of space, forces the BKB out of Esk in the meantime. Ollie inside that Solar Guardian. Is going to get the stun off. Divide Llama in a lot of trouble here. Empyrean taking a lot of damage as well. It's going to be a trade of sorts. That's a 3, 4, a 5. Double kill for Eve, though, as they're going to continue on to Little Nick. That Spirit Vessel is actually destroying him.
and while that looks good, the way they get onto DP and burst her there, the positional disadvantage is just so severe there, right? They're also fighting without Sonic Wave, so they're opting to fight without one of their key spells, and yeah, you do kill the DP, but you're very, very cornered afterwards, and it's so easy for Luna once your heroes pile up next to each other in that like little crevice, basically between the big hill with the ward and the left tower. So that was easy for Wildcard, and they kind of needed that. Like, this game is still very, very close, but those couple of core kills are going to help them a lot. It's going to allow them to push out all of the waves, get the top tier 2, and ultimately, more than likely, give them the control they need to get the next Roshan.
Right. Yeah, they're starting to get this jungle control now. They take the outpost. Any big items for simply TOOBASED that we're waiting for? Quap still looking to finish the Kaya Sange. That's already finished for Little Nick. He is... Here he was very far. I'm going for BKB next, it looks like. And TA looks like a Silver Edge potential, or just a Shadow Blade, maybe. Have to wait and see. Sammy Boy, another multicast onto Empyrean. These heroes have such trouble against full time S. Pops the BKB. Ryoya is going to follow suit with his own. Eve pops his as well. It's a BKB party. Ollie, that's the 4th one in this fight. Ryoya getting chased now. They're going to be able to take out Flea in quick succession, but the BKB TP is successful for the TA. He's going to try to get back into this fight. Little Nick just getting stun locked every single fight, it seems like. Double kill for Esk as Wildcard wins yet another fight.
That blind from Quap for me is just a total blunder. Like, he blinks so offensively alone that he has to use everything on defense and never gets to play the fight. He blinked on top of them. He doesn't have the shard either, so this offensive blink doesn't like disable the players he blinks upon, and they can still... So look at it here, right? I don't know if the shard would have even mattered here. Like, Esk is just gonna immediately BKB anyway, but Ryoya gets very far out of position, gets swarmed. That time the swarm is sticking to him, you see? I don't know. And the Sunstrike's gonna miss because he's just barely stopping to kill off the bug. That could have been even worse if that connected, but at least he got out with like 30 health in his base. That's simply TOOBASED. Or
that
really
would have been a great
ball.
opportunity to take out Roshan, but has not respawned yet. But that does give them a pretty good lead. It was basically even, and now it's 5k. That was a 5k fight, essentially.
Yeah, Ryoya's in trouble.
As Ryoya, Tornado, EMP with a Spirit Vessel.
Oh, they missed the swarm. It might be okay. No BKB?
And maybe still has BKB, like you said, 7-second one.
Right.
He's going to blink TP out.
Nice. He doesn't have to use it. And Ollie's making the most of it bottom. Getting a big chunk out of this tower. Sammy Boy's going to TP down with an Ignite. And that will more than likely dissuade Ollie, at least for the time being. All right, he's confident. We'll clean it up.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Yeah, and Roshan is going to be up in 10 seconds, so relatively early spawn for him this time. But if Wildcard wants to take that, they're going to have to probably take another fight.
Alex is so farmed. I just looked at him
yeah,
again.
It's crazy.
Blink, Crest,
Blink.
Axe.
Wow, that's cool.
He is
Usually
so
it's Aetherlands, right? Why the Blink instead?
Oh, hang on. Sam's dead. The blink gives you, it technically gives you way more reach, right? As long as you're out of the fight and you're not getting cancelled by anything, you have way more reach than you do with the shard. It gives him some extra freedoms with where he can place his hero, where he can get swarms in and then reconnect. All right, Empyrean is not getting out of this one, I do think.
Yeah, well, TP.
Oh.
Okay. Good call, Sin. Oh! Not able to get it in time.
That was a nice escape, actually. Smooth. All right.
But with all that said, some damage done to the tier 3 tower bottom, but it'll cost them the Aegis and Shard, which I assume Eve ate himself, unless he bought that. No, nobody else has one on the roster.
Yeah. He's so farmed. Scotty Manta and the Mask of Madness BKB, Dragonlance, Treads, Aegis, Town Portal Scroll.
Wow. Elven Tunic?
He didn't buy that one. He might have not bought the Town Portal Scroll either, or the Aegis.
Oh, he has to pop his BKB, TP out. Yeah. Feels like, yeah. When you have to use your BKBs in this way, never feels good. But the waves are quite pushed in favor of simply 2-base right now, but it's just gonna... It feels really hard to take a fight against not only the Aegis, but a Weaver with this amount of farm.
Yep.
As a save.
Killing Eve twice, and you've kind of got to do it before the tower falls, or you're going to lose a lane. And he has that double damage Exo. This is such a strong push from Wildcard.
Exorcism is there as well, and they get to take him out in one fell swoop to try to counteract this incoming time lapse.
Oh my god.
But that is the tower. Double damage is about to run out, but this is going to be a full set of racks in the mid. They're not even going to contest this.
Well, you got to contest the second one?
Yeah, I think so. Alacrity is there as well. This is a lot of damage. Exorcism still going. Maybe they wait for that to run out before they go in.
That's a second Rex then.
The stun onto Eve. And it looks, yeah, it's looking like a second Rex indeed. Eve is getting quite low. See if they can get the... Oh, the fortification does pop though, or does activate. As Eve, still alive, wants to just go in and use that Aegis, it looks like. They're going to take out Rubik pretty quickly. All right, maybe not. Maybe he wants to heal up a little bit with his Mask of Madness. I mean, it still has 2.5 minutes, so there's no reason to waste it here, feels like.
It's going to be a while before next wave connects to base. They did cut the waves with the other heroes from Simply 2 base, so might be able to almost heal up fully in the jungle in the meantime.
So Tech, a successful defense of sorts.
It's very debatable. They technically didn't really defend.
Well, sometimes no defense is a good defense, Synderen.
I have never heard that quote before, and it makes no sense.
Well, that's why it's such a good quote.
Sometimes no sense makes a lot of sense.
That makes more sense than what I said, actually.
Everything does.
Good effort. Okay. Alex working on a halberd next, and something tells me that he will actually finish that, considering his ridiculous farm this game.
Also have a halberd on DP. So they're just going to stack those.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about her items at all.
Stack those against
Atos halberd with Lotus as well for Devi. And Lil Nick finally finishes that BKB, so it's a nice fresh one for him. That should help quite a bit. The Spear Vessel has been completely ruining him in combination with Cold Snap. Just feels like such a dirty combo. A little bit surprised he didn't go for a Lotus this game instead of Yule's. I mean, Yule's is definitely cheaper, but...
I think they needed the catch, right? He was trying to compensate for their lineup's weaknesses. You can Yule's into Solar Guardian. It's at least somewhat of a combo. 2 towers claimed by Eve, no contest.
Terrible. What kind of combo is that?
Huh? You can... It's a
That's
Yule
not even
into...
enough time to do anything.
Oh, if you Yule, and then you start casting the ult of Dawn, then when you land, you get the stun off and can connect with your Dawn.
Yeah, but you'll usually have enough, especially with this amount of farm. You can get out of that AoE by then, surely. Well, we'll have to wait and see, Cinder. Up, Solar Guardian. He's going to connect. Alex is dead. A huge Sonic Wave on 3. He's going to buy back. Could time-lapse back in if he really wants to. But he's going to TP instead, it looks like. Divine Llama with that Exorcism just shredding this TA. Ollie cannot get out, it looks like. That is a dead TA for 90 seconds. No buyback whatsoever. Ryoya on the other side now. That Cold Snap, again, just decimating this team. Down he goes. Double kill for Sammy Boy of all heroes. He's going to buy back onto the Quap and the Dawnbreaker, though. Divine Llama, no more Exorcism to work with. But Eve, Aegis consumed. And backdoor protection kicks in again. But the creep wave is coming. And this is where the all chat commences, apparently. This is going to be the full set of second barracks now. Atos on a little nick. This is looking like the beginning of the end for Simply TOOBASED in this game number 2. As Empyrean looks to be dead. GG is called. So Wildcard Gaming take both games. Well, first game was mega convincingly. This one, a little bit of a slow start. Very even game until about the 20-minute mark, I want to say.
Yeah, it's... I think ultimately what caught up with Simply TOOBASED, apart from, you know, some individual mistakes, was I think the complexity of playing this lineup in the later stages of the game without perfect itemization. What ended up happening was that Dawn was almost